Before we get into this video, make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the Peter Gargan channel. Also don't forget to ring that bell. Thank you very much and enjoy the video. This year, the Nintendo Switch has continued to see insane levels of success, and is definitely one of the hot items for this Christmas. If you're thinking about getting it for your loved ones, here are some games and gadgets that I feel would complement your purchase well. How are we today everybody? I hope you're all good. My name is Peter, and for this video, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Usually when I'm in conversation with people that don't own a Switch and are interested in getting one either for themselves or as a gift, I like to give my thoughts on what they like about it, so I figured I might as well make my side of the conversation into a video for anyone else out there interested. For this video, I'll be going over which version of the Switch would suit you, any accessories that you could do with, as well as some of the games that I think are great to start out with. Keep in mind, this isn't so much a guide on getting the best deals around, but rather things that should generally enhance your overall experience with the Switch. Also, as a disclaimer, this video is not sponsored in any way whatsoever, although I will include links to some of the products I have talked about on Amazon, because seriously, what would be the point in listing off things only to have no link? So, with that being said, let's get into it. This is my Christmas 2019 guide for the Nintendo Switch. For the first step, let's decide which model of the Switch is more ideal for you. It's important to consider which one is more ideal for you as they have their differences. We have the standard Switch with detachable Joy-Cons, which allows you to play on the TV as well as take it on the go, or the Switch Lite, which is handheld only and has the Joy-Cons pretty much part of the actual console. Also keep in mind that there are early versions of the standard Switch with a battery life lasting from 2.5 hours to 5.5 hours, as well as a new version lasting from 4.5 hours to 9 hours. If you're thinking of getting the Switch as something to share with all your family, or feel that playing on the TV is important to you, then I'd say you're better off with the standard model. But if you're buying it for a kid to keep them busy on long car journeys for example, the Lite may be more suitable as it's much more affordable. For me, it mostly comes down to whether playing on the TV is a big deal to you or not, and as someone who got the original Switch close to its launch, I have no interest in getting the Lite for myself, but that's just my situation, and I can see why it would work so well for others who don't have a Switch yet. So you can't really go wrong with either choice in my opinion. Now let's get into the things that are sold separately from the Switch, but could also enhance the overall experience. Looking around Amazon, I have found a case that comes with 13 different accessories that can help keep your Switch in good condition. While I have stated that I don't want to go into detail with the deals, the amount you're getting here is pretty solid compared to paying for each accessory individually. For example, the screen protector, as the name implies, protects your screen from scratches and dust, a problem that many handheld devices on the market suffer from, so it doesn't hurt to have one handy. The Pro Controller offers a more traditional gaming experience that you see with other consoles out there, and may be better suited for you if you have pretty big hands, because I've found that using the Joy-Con grip can get tiresome after long periods of playtime. Also, if you tend to play with friends, it provides a more comfortable alternative to splitting and sharing Joy-Cons sideways that you already get. The Switch comes with 32GB of internal storage, and sooner or later, you'll find out that isn't a lot of space, so you may need to invest in a MicroSD card for more storage. This is the main reason why I normally buy physical copies of Switch games whenever possible, but a MicroSD card is recommended, as there's many games you can only get digitally. I personally have a MicroSD card with up to 128GB of storage, as that amount should keep you going for a while, and is also pretty affordable if you know where to look. Depending on what you're playing, you may need to keep the battery life in mind if you're out and about for long periods of time. The Switch uses USB Type-C, meaning you might already have a charging cable compatible, but if not, I'd recommend one, as you never know when it could come in handy during long train journeys or plane flights. The next two items are ones that kind of weave between being games and accessories, as they mainly consist of a peripheral that goes with the game. I thought I'd include these before the actual game segment due to this overlap. I'm pretty sure when most people set out to create New Year's resolutions, one of the most likely ones they mention is to either lose weight or build muscle or to generally be more physically active. Also, if you ever played Wii Fit back in the Wii era, then Ring Fit Adventure should be right up your alley. It's a cross between a fitness game and a role-playing adventure in which you fight enemies using the ring con to conduct exercise-based attacks. From what I've heard, it has managed to blend together the fun of an adventure game whilst giving you a decent workout in the process, so depending on how you work out, it could make for a reasonable alternative to the gym. If you're concerned that your children will be glued to the screen pressing buttons all day, there's always Nintendo Labo, a series of cardboard structures known as Toy-Con that you can build to play a unique set of games that work with the Joy-Con in different ways. Although I don't fit this target demographic, I can see the appeal in encouraging creativity in your kids in the same way that LEGO has, for example. However, it can be quite pricey for a pile of cardboard, so keep that in mind. Now, let's get into the good stuff and quite possibly the main reason why you're looking into getting a Switch. The games, of course! 2019 has arguably been one of the Switch's strongest years yet, as it saw the release of many exclusives that I'm sure will shape the legacy of the console. I'm going to go over this year's highlights, followed by some games that have already come to the system. Super Mario Maker 2 is a user-friendly title that allows you to create the Mario levels of your dreams, using the engines of classic games ranging from the original Super Mario Bros. On the NES, all the way to 3D World on the Wii U. And since you can share the consoles online, there's practically infinite content available. Fire Emblem Three Houses is the latest entry in a series of tactical RPGs in which you take command of a group of colourful characters as you move them around a grid-based environment and take on other armies. There's also a social simulation side to it, where spending time with characters outside of battle will enhance their abilities in combat, a feature which has been compared to the Persona series. Despite the controversies leading up to, and after, its release, Pokemon Sword and Shield still offer the traditional Pokemon experience that we're all familiar with, and are the first core RPGs on home consoles if you don't count Colosseum or XD on the GameCube or Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee the year beforehand, the latter of which are more accessible games for those that are fresh off of Pokemon Go. Despite not being interested in getting Sword and Shield for myself, I still recommend it if you're serious about Pokemon. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is a remake of a classic Game Boy title of the same name, which happens to be one of my personal favourite 2D Zeldas. If you haven't had the opportunity to play the original, you can't go wrong with this faithful reimagining with a whimsical art style that suits the game's quirky tone very well based on what I've seen of it. Luigi's Mansion 3 is sure to go down as one of the Switch's finest, as the series in general exposes you to a different side to the Mario universe, in which you help his timid brother explore the various floors of a haunted hotel while capturing ghosts and solving puzzles. The game just oozes atmospheric charm, and is a must-have for any Switch owner out there. My personal game of the year, Astral Chain, is a rather niche title that I think shouldn't be slept on, as it contains fast-paced action and unique mechanics to distinguish itself from Platinum Games' previous efforts. Maybe an over-the-top, highly Japanesey game isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's worth a shot if you think the person you're getting a Switch for would like it. Now that I've got some of this year's highlights out of the way, I thought I'd talk about some of the games we've seen from both 2017 and 2018 that I think are essentials for Switch owners out there. You can't have a Nintendo console without a Mario Kart, can you? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is an enhanced port of Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, and despite re-releasing the same game again, it's still a solid entry with an improved battle mode and additional characters on top. You know the drill, you race around a colourful course, throwing items and ruining friendships, so let's move on. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was one of the only games available on Switch at launch, and despite this, some would argue that this alone made getting a Switch immediately worthwhile, and it's not hard to see why. The game allows you to explore Hyrule at your own pace, and do anything in any order you like, however you like, as well as giving you the freedom to play around with its mind-blowingly intricate physics. I personally love how the game rewards you for thinking outside the box, as there is typically no definitive way of taking on a challenge. If you haven't experienced this game yet, now is the perfect time, as everyone's playthrough is almost guaranteed to be completely unique based on how they handle the adventure. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is quite possibly the Switch's, ultimate multiplayer experience. You can choose from over 70 characters from Nintendo's history, as well as some third-party guests, and compete to knock your friends out of the stage both locally and online. There's also other side modes such as Classic and Spirits to sink your teeth into, and with more characters being added as time goes on, the excitement of playing will most likely last for the rest of the Switch's life cycle. Super Mario Odyssey goes back to the roots of 3D platforming classic Super Mario 64, while also standing on its own legs as something completely fresh and original. Help Mario and Cappy track down every last Power Moon in many creatively crafted kingdoms to stop Bowser from forcing Peach to marry him, in what I think is the best Mario game we have seen in a long time. If you're looking for a captivating experience, look no further than Odyssey. Splatoon 2 is a unique shooter in which the main focus of the game is to cover the ground with the ink of your team's colour, rather than going for the kills like other shooters. This idea alone adds many different layers of strategy behind it, as you aim to be the freshest of the squids in Inkopolis, and has provided dozens of hours of fun for many. If you've ever wondered whether there are kid-friendly shooters out there, Splatoon 2 has most likely heard your prayers. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is one of those that are into RPGs that take almost forever to see and do everything it has to offer, complete with quirky characters and an ambitious story. Definitely a game that you could potentially sink your teeth into for hours on end, and if you happen to like it, you're guaranteed to get your money's worth. At this point, You may be watching this video and thinking that you have someone who doesn't particularly gravitate towards Nintendo's first-party offerings, but don't worry, the Switch has you covered. Third-party support has always been something that Nintendo has struggled with compared to other consoles, and while the Switch isn't exactly on the same level as Xbox and PlayStation in this department, it's still a significant improvement from the Wii U days. Some great choices include The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Dragon Quest XI-S Echoes of an Elusive Age, Dark Souls Remastered, Overwatch, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Doom, Sonic Mania, Okami HD, Fortnite, Minecraft, various classic Resident Evil games, various classic Final Fantasy games, and so much more. There's also various indie titles like Shovel Knight, Undertale, Hollow Knight, Celeste, Overcooked 1, Overcooked 2, Cadence of Hyrule, Little Nightmares. I could go on forever. To be honest, I think listing off just a few examples in this way does so much injustice to the variety out there, but that just shows how much there really is on offer. With all these games in mind, there's also so many more on the way, such as Animal Crossing New Horizons, the latest in the series in which you live a laid-back life while making friends with anthropomorphic characters with an island-themed twist. There's also the highly anticipated Metroid Prime 4, which we may not see in a long time, but I'm sure it'll be worthwhile when Nintendo is eventually ready to reveal it. Other titles such as Bayonetta 3, Shin Megami Tensei 5, No More Heroes 3, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and especially the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will continue to make the Switch an ideal gift for many Christmases to come. Anyway, that just about does it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments below, as well as give out any of your personal recommendations for aspiring Switch owners out there. Also, don't forget to check out my other videos, including this one, where I talk about the Nintendo franchises I'd like to see come to the Switch in the future, or this one, where I talk about my hopes and desires for the next Mario Kart game. Until next time, see you later.